Welcome to Tender Heart.
Drug addict resurrection. Hey, can you help me out? So me and my wife are getting a divorce sadly. And I just want to let her know I love her and care about her, always have, always will. Last year I got addicted to drugs and I was always drunk and I wasn't home much, verbally abusive. It was all about my selfishness. And I see it now. We have a 6-year-old boy and all I want is for her to know I'm sorry. I let my addictions ruin my whole life, but I never once stopped loving and caring about them. The room was dark and there were a couple of empty alcohol bottles on the table, a piece of aluminum foil on the floor and a syringe next to the sofa. Seth was lying on the couch, wasted and wanting to cry, except he couldn't. After several years of marriage and a 6-year-old kid, Anna asked Seth for a divorce. She couldn't stand anymore all the nights in which Seth would come back home totally drunk, aggressive and verbally abusing her. Seth could do nothing but accept it, and leave the house. Months passed by and Seth went on getting high and drunk every single night. That Saturday he, unconsciously, almost went overdosed, ended up on the couch vomiting all around himself and part of the floor and sofa. He said to himself that this was enough, that he couldn't continue living like that. So he would try to get clean as soon as possible. He would try to write a letter, without success, in order to express to Anna how bad he felt about what he had done. And why she should start trusting him again. But he couldn't write it. His hand trembled so much and words wouldn't just come out of his brain. So, even without money, he decided to hire a writer in order to help him. The writer felt sad for him and accepted working on that letter. Together, they wrote a letter that explained all the regrets Seth had. He was in pain because he couldn't see his kid anymore. At scheduled times, he would just not appear since he was busy drinking or injecting heroin. Seth was in a really bad state. The writer understood how bad the situation was and tried to help him as much as he could. In the letter, it was all about regret. How mean he was in the past, how bad decisions were made. He would regret how he almost hit her once, or how he just disappeared one day while his son was in the park, so he could go grab a beer with a friend. The letter said that Seth was acting like a child, not letting himself realize how he was wasting his time, instead of being with his own family. Words described all the pains he was suffering from, but also how asking for forgiveness from Anna. It would say that he still loves them and that he cared about them more than anything else. It was full of promises. He would join rehab and a therapist, look for a stable job and redeem himself in order to be the father their kid deserved. Seth met Anna and just handed her the letter, which she was reluctant to accept. He insisted and she took it. 2 weeks later, Anna asked Seth to meet up. She went with their child, who was really happy to see his dad. Seth, this time, appeared shaved, well-dressed and in a better shape than when he handed her the letter. "I started rehab, Anna," he would say. Anna agreed to meet him every week and only later on she would evaluate if he kept his promises and, therefore, let him be part of their lives again. 6 months later Seth was spending a full day with his son. Both of them alone, without Anna. He recovered so quickly, Anna couldn't believe it. A year later, their kid would sleep with his dad for the first time in a very, very long time. After another few months, they were dining together in a restaurant, like a family. Seth found a job, and he couldn't be happier. Anna, too. "It's the power of love that made me change," said Seth. "I see that. I'm so happy for you," replied Anna. "I love you both, you are all I have." Anna smiled and left the restaurant. Since that night their kid was staying with his dad. Seth never took drugs and alcohol again in his life.